bit to the east, we have Iraklio, which is the steam engine for all wine from Crete. It has the biggest proportion of wine production, but also the biggest concentration of wine producers. It also has 5 PDOs, Peza, Daphnes, Archanes, and 2 sister PDOs, Chandaka, Candia, and Malvasia, Chandaka, Candia. The lion's share of the black grape plantations is about Kotsifali and Mandilaria. Kotsifali is a Cretan speciality, while Mandilaria is planted across the Aegean Sea. These 2 grapes are many times blended together because they are like Bonnie and Clyde. I'll let you decide which is which. Kotsifali is a grape that lacks a bit of color, lacks also tannins and acidity. It can give wines with relatively high alcohol and some very interesting aromas. In sharp contrast, Mandilaria has extremely deep color, masses of tannins, very high acidity, but it's not very expressive in terms of flavor components. So, by adding a bit of Mandilaria into Kotsifali, you add color and backbone. This blend of Kotsifali and Mandilaria, or Mandilari as some people call it, is so successful that we have it on many PDOs in Iraklio. Archanes PDO is exactly that. It has to be red wines with the majority being Kotsifali and then the rest being Mandilaria. In Peza, it's exactly the same, but Peza PDO wines can also be whites, coming from the Villana grape variety. Villana is the most planted white grape on the island, and in some ways it has a common theme, a common history with Sabatiano. Go and check out on previous videos when we talked about Sabatiano, okay? Villana was synonymous with cheap, bland wine that had no concentration, no interest. All it needed, that poor grape, was a bit of TLC from the vine growers to give some stunners. The third PDO of Iraklio is Daphnes, and this is an appellation of red wines, either dry or sweet, coming from a grape variety called Liatico. Liatico is low in color, low in acid, low in tannin, but it can be so textural, so concentrated, that it doesn't really need tannin or acidity. Some people compare that with Grenache Noir, others with Pinot Noir, Bardi acidity. Okay, let's face it, brave up. Liatico is Liatico. The sweet wines of Liatico have to come from sun-dried grapes, and they have to age in oak for many years. There are some wines in the marketplace that have been for almost a decade aged in barrels. So, just grab one of these bottles because these are founding fathers of the value for money state for sure. The last 2 PDOs of Iraklio are attempts to embrace the glories of the past of the era and propel them into the future. They belong to a group of appellations that have been recently added to the Greek wine legislation that are celebrations of areas used to produce hugely successful wines during the Middle Ages, most importantly Malvasia wine. And now it's tongue-twisting time. The names of these 2 PDOs is Chandaka Candia and Malvasia Chandaka Candia. Don't understand a word? Join me. Candia used to be the medieval name of Crete, and Chandakas was the same for Iraklio. So the connection with the Middle Ages and the area are more than obvious. The demarcated area of these 2 PDOs essentially makes them a super PDO because it encompasses all the previous 3 appellations and then some. Chandakas Candia is an appellation for white wines and red wines, both of them being dry. White Chandakas Candia has to be at least 85% Villana with 15% of other local or Greek national grapes. The red is the usual suspect blend, Bonnie and Clyde, Kotsifali and Mandilari. Now, Malvasia Chanda Cascandia has to be a sweet wine from sun-dried white grapes. There is a very specific intention of not allowing a grape variety to dominate the blend. So you can have Assyrtiko, Athiri, Villana, you can have Vidiano, and then a bit of Muscat of Spinas and a bit of Malvasia Aromatica. Finally, we reach Lasithi with two PDOs, Sitia and Malvasia Sitia. You can take a whole big map of Greece, get a pin into Sitia, and everyone will say, hey, this is going to be boilingly hot. No, it isn't. Why? Because we have Zeros Mountain and we have a plateau with vineyards going up to 750 meters in altitude. So these vines are enjoying a mountainous climate rather different from what you will enjoy when you're next to the beach. If we had a test for you after these videos, then the composition of the Sitia appellations would be to separate the wheat from the shaft. Here we go. Sitia, both whites and red wines. The white wines have to be mainly Villana, but you have about 30% of Thrapsatiri, a grape that adds minerality as well as acidity. For the reds, you can have Sitia PDO reds sweet or dry, and they have to be mainly Liatico, but also 20% of Mandilaria has to be added. The sweet wines can be fortified or not fortified, but sun-dried grapes must always be used. The last PDO is Malvasia Sitia, which is under the same legislational rules with Malvasia Chanda Cascandia. So a mix of different grape varieties, sun-dried grapes, and it has to be a sweet wine. In Chandakas, I forgot to mention that the wines have to be aged in oak for a long time. This takes place here as well. So yeah, but you would expect long aging about these wines. This Cretan wine revolution is an excellent example of the importance of teamwork, vision, intentions, never giving up. If I had to pick up a soundtrack for all this, it would be Never Say Die. Although we barely scratched the surface of Cretan wine, this is the end of the 7th episode. You can get all past videos on the Greek Wine Federation's YouTube channel. Stay tuned, we are getting ready for the last episode, Aegean Sea Islands. Stay safe, stay home, don't drink too much, always consume in moderation. Thank you.